Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and today we're going to do a real short, large overview of the peer evaluation aspect of CATME. Remember, CATME has two uh, functionality. One is to how to form new teams and keep them diversified from information that I receive from the students. The second aspect of CATME is basically an activity that's peer evaluation. I evaluate the team members have the opportunity to evaluate each other, plus they evaluate themselves and each other, and they could get results showing how other team members evaluated them, and where they rated themselves. It gives triggers for the instructor to say this team is functional, this team is dysfunctional. It has an area in there when they're doing the peer evaluation on the team members. They could write something about another team member. They could say they're not happy with the team. They tell me where there's some kind of disconnect within the team. This is all information that comes up to me, so that works out well. So I have that data. Or anytime they have any kind of feedback, that data stays with me. The other part of that feedback is when I look at the numbers and I show you the data and how I could pick up or see that the team is being effective, or where I should, as an instructor, intercede because there is some issues. It will provide me that those areas or those red flags, so I know where to look at. The flip side, I could turn around and send information back to the student to see how the other team members evaluated you, how you evaluated, how other team members evaluated you, and basically without the team members' names in there. Here's where you are, here's what the other team members evaluated you, and gives you suggestions how you can improve your team effectiveness. Okay, the other thing is on here, when I create the teams for peer evaluation, again, I select which categories I want or which ones I want the team to be effective. Now, if you're not going to be utilizing feedback back to the individuals, you have smaller teams and you may not want that, I could keep it and not send it back, release that information to the students, or I could just utilize this system just to send it out, not looking at peer evaluating other team members, but just general questions. How do you like the team? Is the team functional? What areas of the team, as a team as in general, what's going on, what's going good? So this gives you some ideas as an instructor where I should tweak it. Not wait to the end and find out, I wish I would have done that earlier because I didn't have any hindsights or any kind of information. So the software will give me this information. Again, students have to put information in. You put some points in it, they will put the information in. It gives them a sounding board that protects the students, protects the other team members, and it also helps the instructor. So when I assess the team and I give a grade for team activity, it's not subjective. I have some hardcore evidence. So we're going to start in here. We're going to just do an activity, and I'm going to go back. We're going to go back on this made-up class. I have several activities in here, but I'm going to just show you how quick it is to make the activity. So I already did the team members. Now, one thing to remember, if I did not create the teams, because the teams were predetermined, for whatever reason. Some classes I already get teams and I don't select them on the team. They're already on the team. I could just use the peer evaluation aspect of it without creating the teams, and I'll show you on this. In this one, I already have the team created. It's my first team, right? So I already created this. Now, I could always add different activities to check something. I could add activities to peer evaluate. I could add an activity to see how, just to get a fuzzy feeling how the team is doing as general. So here's how easy it is. You just hit add activity. Okay, and gives you some information about this, and then you're going to go next. Remember, CATME has its own tutorial. This is just a quick overview just to get people to utilize the tutorial, to see, hey, this is a good software. Where is it at? Okay, so now remember, you could either do a team. This one's going to be basically what we'll be doing is the peer reviews. It's administrative behaviorally anchored peer evaluation and assesses team member effectiveness. It also gives a description. It gives you more information. It's just not when you're doing on an anchored evaluation, beats expectation, don't. It gives you definition. You'll see it. Very, very intuitive, very helpful, even for an individual who doesn't know how to evaluate, never evaluated. It will help this in person. Okay, so I'm doing it the CATME bars. So it's a behavioral anchored. Again, the name, this is going to be just a testing. I'm just going to testing. See, I just testing peer evaluation setup. So I did before. You set up the dates. I'm going to do this in the future. I'm going to go in July and back to July only July 12th. And the reason I do that is because once you set this up, an activity by the date, it will not, so if you're not sure how you want it to look, set it up. It does not release it to the students. Nothing releases until it reaches that date. So I have everything else in here. And again, what questions do I want? Team conflict, team satisfaction. You don't have to select them. At first I selected all of them. They're going, oh my goodness, this is too much. Okay, so let's not select all of them. You can select which ones you want. Or, interacting with teammates, keeping the team on track. These are all individual qualities. And now the ones that how they're doing as a team, I'm looking at this team transition process, team action, team cohesiveness. Is the team working as a team? Is the team self-independent? And those are questions that you may not, you're not evaluating other team members. You're just giving me a general idea what areas that I as an instructor should modify or expand on within the lectures when I have the teams face-to-face. Okay, so I selected those. Easy as that. And it's now, remember, I could pull the files up because I already created, or I could bring in a brand new file, an Excel spreadsheet that has the first name, the last name. That's all I needed for CATME, an ID number, because if you're going to use this, saying yes, this is the person and this is how the team rated is, so you got to have something that's could stand up if you have to defend the results. That's why I use that, and the student's email. So if you have that, then you save it in Excel as a tab delineated file. It'll just log in. But this one we already have it, so I'm going to import it, but I'm going to import it from the team maker from the class. I already have all the data. Remember, I could have different activities. Don't read it to do it, and just hit import. And in a few seconds, man, is that fast? And here's all the data. So now I have everything else, and then I go next, and I'm done. I could assign a faculty member. Some of you may have a TA assistant, depending if you're in a larger college, or at a junior college you may have an intern, and you want him or her to have this experience, so you'll assign the task of evaluating the teams. You delegate a faculty, and to which members that faculty is a large class, it's a lecture room. You have 2 or 3 interns. You could divide the class, which is a manageable for each intern. Okay, so I go next. I don't have to do that, and that's all it is. And I'm finished, and I'm done. And basically, if I look at that, and I save, and return. Excuse me, real quickly. I got this other team evaluation. You see how easy? Now, if I want to ever get rid of it, so you say I got all these evaluations. What do I do? Just click on it. Right, it has this, and go all the way down. I delete the activity. And it's out of there. Okay, so now you know how quick and easy it is to set up an activity. No problem. How do what I do with the data? Now, the ones here, these were already set up, and the data is there sent, and I received the replies back, and I have all the data. Now, so now it was released. When it says released, it means I did the peer evaluation. I already did my categories. I set it up to the team. I released it. The data was released, and it came back, and now I have results. Okay, so here's my results from my first peer evaluation. What it tells me, you have 2 different things. It'll tell me each student what they contributed. You know what I mean? And if you look at this, contribute to the team interaction, keep on track. From a scale of 5, here's your red. This one here, when you look at the red, this is just like a major overall summary, and I'll get into the detail. Critique behavior. What happens with this team, that there's some dysfunction. The way people were rating each other, the system says, hey, there's too many negatives coming in here. Warning. Remember, this is only the first peer evaluation. They should be getting along with each other. They didn't have enough time to get upset yet. They haven't done a major project. So if they're already fighting now, here's where I should spend a little more time with this team. Now, the other team, look, when I look at this team 1, I only made 3 teams on here. Remember, I used to have 4 or 5. I just made it to 7. It's easier for my presentation. The other ones, I have 2 different uniques. I have this individual here. If I look at this one, this individual Pat, he's always rating himself, but he's rating himself lower than what the team is rating. So this tells me that this individual here, for lack of better words, is underconfident. He doesn't have his confidence, saying, hey, team member saying he's doing a good job, but I'm always underconfident, so I'm not going to be a risk taker. I want him to be an effective team member. Hey, I could contribute. I am improving. That's part of collaborative learning, part of team building. I have my strengths. I may not know everything, but with the team, I am strong and I am a good contributor. And this other one is a high. This one's high performer. Now, I've got two high performers. The problem with two high performers, they all want to be leaders, want it their way. So if I have a thing that has all high performers, I'll have to keep an eye on them to make sure that there isn't any dysfunctional. The other issue with high performers, let's say if I have only one high performer and a lot of lower performers, what's going to happen? The high performer will end up doing all the work. So I have to make sure, so part of my team process, halfway I go, assign me, show me who is assigned what tasks they're going to be doing. I don't care how you break the task, you're going to have to give me something to write up. Now I could see it. Is the high performer doing more of the tasks than the other ones? Because now it's on paper, they actually have to look at it. Instead of saying, I'll do it, and all the great, and the other ones are just coasting by and they're not learning. That is an ineffective assessment and an ineffective way of, collaborative learning, because you want the person who has the A help the person with the B or the C, the person with B or C could see what I need to get to achieve to that A by watching someone and seeing how he or she does it. Okay, so you have that information. Okay, so now you have that. Before I go in here, before I go into more of the detail, I want to show you something. Let's go into Pat. Pat was the one that I had an issue back there, remember? I hit Pat. Where the heck was Pat at here? Here, Pat. Remember? Because I had the issue with Pat when I went down in here. He was under. So let's see what the review. This is Pat's review. So I go in here, and when I release the data, you remember, I don't have to release this to the day. I release the data. This is what Pat will receive. How you rated yourself does more work. So here's Pat's rating. He rated himself low, and the other team members rated him higher. Some low, some higher. Okay. Again. So and then let's say if he was rated in here and he was rated lower. How do I do a fair, and the topic on this, contributed team's work. So let's see if I was rated completely low, and it says, makes important contribution to the team, helps team members are effective. On this side is high. Underneath here is low, demonstrate behavior described immediately above or below, keeps his fair share of the team's work with acceptable quality. It doesn't say it's exceptional, it's acceptable, keeps commitments. So there's where you're rated. Demonstrate below and high and below, and it gives me my A, B, and C is the way the system rates it. And here, suggestions that follow behaviors will improve the rating and do a fair share of work. So it tells them what you should be doing, what I'm being graded on. I try to take away the subjectivity of grading, of evaluation, but give it to them something that's objective, so they could say, you didn't do this, you didn't complete your work in a timely manner. You're a nice person, but you didn't. One other aspect I didn't touch on, when you've created the team, there's a button on there that allows you, the first time the teams are created, for them to do a practice evaluation on fake students, and they will have an hour to do these, and they have a scenario, and how would I rate him? George is a nice guy, brings coffee all the time, and I rate him high because he's a good team member. He's personable, communicates well. But when it comes to doing the work, he never does anything on time. But I rate him average because he always brings me the coffee. You should rate that individual low, and the system will pick that up. It'll teach the individuals how to rate. I use that when I'm using my management class or my HR class, human resources, where they need to be able to evaluate effectively, and not just on the halo effect out there. Okay, so interacting with other team members. Remember, this person is always rating himself low by 1 or 1.5 points, but the team members are rating him higher. But you have to look for the other team member, quality, research. So you have all this data. Remember, that's all there for every student. So when I see something else, I go return to my main page. Remember, this data's already been collected. It all came back. They send the evaluation. They had the dates. They replied it back to me. All right, so I can look at the raw data for each individual student. Now I'm going to look at the raw data. This is an overview. Boom, here's the numbers. Once after a while, you get used to the system. You know where the numbers are coming from. I know which areas I should focus in. Or on this team, hey, everything is over. This team here, everything looks like it's going far. They're not the overachievers out of 5. They're worse where I expect them, if not better, for the first peer evaluation. And now I'm looking at the raw data, and here's what the raw data shows me. I've got the student's name, the rater. Here's rater 1, right? The rater 1. Here's how he was rated, CIT. What the heck does all that mean? If I look at this on the spreadsheet, remember, you can show that off. Contributing, interacting with team members, keeping on here. Again, it'll give me all the information I'm looking at. How frequently you want it, and these are just raw data. It gives me statistical data that tells me areas. I'm not going to go into it. The CATME has a whole printout a help thing that will give you in specifics if you want to understand it thoroughly. This is just a quick overview to let you know the data that's out there. I'm just looking at certain numbers, what's my standard deviation, what's my mean, and then I can kind of figure out, is it in there, is it outside my standard deviation, or is it within the parameters that I set up as an instructor. So I have all that information. So far, so good. Okay. Now, when I scroll down, each student could put on their own remarks. I've got the statistical data. Here's something's going on. I know the numbers. I know the team members. I'm looking to respond to the questions. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I have a general idea. This is my individual. I've identified this team a problem, identified this individual. I go into their write-up. Shows a willingness. Remember, this is only the first team. They haven't happened. Now that we've chosen one, I expect everyone to blossom and do their fair share. Seems like she's talking like a leader. Okay, this one has no comments. She's happy. I feel everyone's doing a great job. I believe my team members need to get on the ball. Again, this is the team that's dysfunctional. It showed me that I had some area. I had some clickage. So now I'm interceding. You know what I mean? Team is currently researching the area. Right? When the only name you have in here, I put myself out as an instructor so I could get the feedback. So see what the students see when I'm using the software. You don't have to. I'm just doing this for training because I'm doing some. I'm trying to bring this CATME program to the college I'm presently teaching. Okay, and then it basically has the name. I enjoy working in a group, and you could read the comments. Okay, so I'm not saying one way or the other. So we're okay with this. So now what I will basically do. Okay, so I'm just popped up, so I'm going to stroll all the way back, and I'm finished this. So I've got my data, right? I displayed my data. I could export this into an Excel spreadsheet. I could return to the summary. I have all the information I need, and I'm returning to my summary. And here's my data. I have everything else. I could redisplay the data. I could preview. I could look at the comments. I return to the class page. And that's it for my first one. So 93% of my students completed it. Now, my final peer evaluation, I only had 81%. Some students dropped the class. Remember, this is the problem. This wasn't the class. They withdrew before I had to fail them, or they withdrew because of some conflict. So I only have 81%. You could bring out, it's going to send out the same survey to as the original team that started. I could purge those individuals either here. Anywhere I purge the individuals, they'll basically purge the whole record out of there. So this is their final review, right? So I'm looking at the results. And my final review, numbers are good. There's still some individuals that didn't do too well. Comments, great to work with the team. Oh, I'm learning something else there. Still look at the comments. Look at this individual here. She didn't do no comments. Whenever I had the blue, look how I'm learning. The blue, it gives me the comments. Everyone in the group except so-and-so. What about this one? The group was very strong. Marcus, name the team members. I tried to tell them, all right, look at this. This is an awesome team. Gave me a great opportunity to learn. This is the ending. This is the final review. Now they're giving the comments. What do I feel? This is what I want to hear. Awesome team. Look, so in the blue. What about this one? This team is fine. Working with all of them, as they each had their own opinions. It was interesting to work with a millennial. Here we go. There we go. As a peer versus a supervisor, I really enjoyed the collaboration. Look at this one. I think that team building was a great exercise. Remember, they don't have to do this because this. I'm looking at how they graded each other. I'm not looking at their comments that they love to work with the team. It's always a good plus. I'm looking how they played within the group. Again, now this one here, there's a new one. This conference, personality conflicts. Remember, when I look at this, even at the final, this is the team that had the issue. I minimized it. The numbers went up, but there was still some personality conflict. Look at this one. This student has rated one or more team members 2 or less above the median rating of the students by other team members. Gives a score of less than 3. Perhaps the student just didn't get along with the students. It's a poor rating. What about this one? Same thing. So these two students may tell me that this one accepts for so-and-so, and this one accepts and so-and-so. So these two students had conflict. They resolved it, but like anything else, if you don't, some people you're just not going to get along with. I try to teach part of working with teams. You're not going to get along with everyone. You have to respect people. You have to treat them fairly. So they may be marking. So if they both, because of these two people fighting, and then I'm looking at the other team. So you may still, even though here's the eval, you could factor in and says, okay, there's just some problem. Did they resolve it? You still control what percentage of the points you're going to give to the individual. Now this one's high. What else we have? So we're doing pretty good. So that's basically it. You have everything you want. You can review them, comments. You can print it out. It has the adjustments. They did better as the team, so they had some rough start. You're under a storming stage when you look at the team forming model, and now they're at the journeying stage, and they finally got to work with each other, and they're performing, and they come up and get me. So in a nutshell, you have the peer evaluation. If you don't want to send the data back, like I showed how he or she was rated, you could just have that and you just keep it to yourself and give them a grade. I think any feedback, part of the whole thing for this software is to teach the students that how do I work. We all work well individually. How do I work as a team? I have some students, can't I do it by myself? I could do it better. Yes, you could do it better. But if you're going to be successful going in real life business setting, whether I'm an entrepreneur, a small business owner, or whether I am an individual contributor, I have to know how to be an effective team member. As a team leader, as a manager and a teacher, I have to know how to assess the team effectively, not only by the product, but how the team is interacting forward. And this basically is the software you're looking for collaborative learning, for team building, and for development of students. So they have the skill sets, they have the emotional intelligence, they have the training, they have the ability to go forward and be an effective team member. And so it will shine, because if they're good students, they know how to work in teams. This is a plus for your university or the colleges that are using this, because your students are a reflection of what they learn, not only what they learn, but how they take that knowledge and how they interact with other people. So again, short overview. My name is Dr. George Mochocki, and this is CATME, Comprehensive Assessment of Team Members' Effectiveness. And you go on their website, they have individual tutors. This is just a quick overview for you to go to the website and utilize their software. Thank you very much.